handoff. Adrian up the middle, room to the 20, cuts to the left to the 25, and Adrian's loose. He splits the defense. 50, 40, 30. Goodbye, baby. Touchdown!
We bleed purple and our bones are gold. Hear the horns coming out of our dome. Behold, we are Minnesota Vikings fans. We love when a player scores.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the slightly delayed Purple People podcast for the week of August 11th, 2013. Preseason game number 1 against the Houston Texans is in the books. I am your host, Kyle West, and alongside me, as always, is the nimble-footed Adam Carlson.
I don't know if I've ever had myself referred to as nimble-footed.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to say nimble-footed.
So that might be a new one by me. But I'd like to welcome everyone to the Purple People podcast. This is episode number 62 of the show, and it is titled Dances with Wilfs.
Ah.
Yeah. I like that movie. I saw it in theaters. Kind of long, but it's a good movie. It's really good. With that, we have a lot to talk about this week, so let's go right into the social media. And that's you, Kyle.
We are going to go into social media, and we're going to keep this one kind of quick because I know we got some training camp to talk about and some, obviously, the Texans game to talk about. We want to spend some time with that one. But for this one, I asked you guys over Twitter who you would rather have as a backup quarterback on the team, Vince Young, who recently signed with the Green Bay Packers, or Matt Castle, who, as you guys know, is working on a 1-year contract with the Vikings. So I guess I'll go first, and then I'll let you answer, and then I'll read off a couple that I got on our Twitter page, Adam.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm going to go with Matt Castle, because even though I do like Vince Young as a backup quarterback in the NFL, I think he's a bit of a basket case still, and I don't think that he would run the style of offense that we want to in Minnesota. So I'm happy with having Matt Castle as our backup over top of Vince Young.
I agree that Castle is a better fit than Vince Young. I like some of the things that Vince Young brings to the table as far as his ability and his athleticism, but I would have to choose Castle too, only because he's the only other option.
Yeah.
Gave me.
And for some of our Twitter followers, let's see, we had Matt Castle. Tough call. A lot of people were saying that's a tough call. They went with Castle. We had one guy who said to bring back Bob Lee.
Oh.
So, there you go. Yeah, that's an interesting one. But most Vikings fans tended to answer Castle with that one.
I'm surprised Judd Zugland's hoodie there didn't say Spurgeon win.
Yeah, no, I was expecting him to give Spurgeon win as an answer, but no, he must not have seen that question. He's
Probably not.
The hoodie is a pretty busy account these days.
Oh, I bet. We've been kind of busy too with all the Vikings activities going on, but remember, Facebook, Twitter, we're there. We'll talk to you. We'll answer questions. We'll say stupid stuff that get you mad, and we'll have family members yelling at us. We'll be fine.
Yeah, especially tonight with the Texans game. It was a lot of fun. It was back to having just all kinds of activity over Twitter. So big thanks to everyone, and remember you can follow us at Purple People Pod, or Facebook.com/Purple People Podcast to all kinds of Viking stuff we got going on there.
Oh yeah, we try to keep you up to date on the latest information, but most of our listeners already know that, so thank you for doing that.
So our next segment, I think we're going to just very briefly touch upon training camp, and then we're going to roll into the Texans game. For those of you who have been following us on Facebook, I've been posting photos. I was up there for a three-day vacation in Mankato, so I've been posting my photos of camp, and
I like it.
I'm going to be continuing to do that. I've got some interesting, good ones. At least I think they're interesting and good. My takeaway from this year's camp, and I'm going to keep this quick so we can get to the Texans stuff here, is that there is a lot of fans in Mankato.
Oh, I bet.
This is the largest attendance I've seen yet. Like, the stands are jam-packed for morning walkthroughs. And they don't even do anything at morning walkthroughs. I mean, they're not in pads. They're out there in shorts and jerseys, and they're just like mimicking through the motions, and it's jam-packed. This attendance is crazy to the point of it. It was almost a little annoying for the scrimmage game on what was that, Saturday, because it was over capacity. There was no place to sit. I was actually standing on the side of a hill on the end zone trying to take photos because there was no place for anyone to go.
Crazy.
Some players that I thought stood out are also going to be the ones that we're going to be talking about tonight. Cordarrelle Patterson is bigger and he's faster than what I thought he was seeing him in person. I really liked what I seen from Patterson. He goes out there and he catches balls that you would expect him to catch, as well as catching the balls that you wouldn't expect him to catch. So I definitely liked seeing that from him. I had a chance to talk to Bill Musgrave very briefly, where he came out and he was signing autographs, and there wasn't really anyone talking to him. So I'm like, hey, Bill, what do you think of Cordarrelle Patterson? Yeah, bubble screen. I should have went off on the bubble screen rant, but I wanted to get an actual answer out of him about Patterson. And his face kind of lit up like a Christmas tree when I brought him up, and he basically said the same thing that I did, is that he's very quick and that he's very excited to use him, and he said that Vikings fans should be excited for what he's going to bring to this offense. So lots of good things about Patterson.
Excellent.
This season.
Well, I am going to, instead of doing my quick hits at the end, I think I'm going to do them now because a lot of them have to do with a lot of the things that have happened prior to the Texans game. We saw offensive tackle DeMarcus Love suspended for 4 games because of a PED violation. It'll hurt his chances of making the final roster. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there at offensive tackle. Chris Carter is now officially a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Congratulations to Chris Carter. If you watched his speech, it had to have touched you in places. I'm hoping your heart, because otherwise it's kind of weird. But Coach Frazier was saying that Aaron Henderson moving back to outside linebacker is unlikely, so we will probably see Henderson there for this season. Now comes the weird one. Now, we've all seen Greg Jennings taking a couple jabs at the Packers or Aaron Rodgers, and he came out and he apologized for that, just like the coach had asked him to. But then he made a weird statement about the Packer organization brainwashing people, and I'm not sure what Jennings is trying to accomplish here, if it's mind games or if he's just having fun, but it's a distraction. So I hope that comes to a close soon.
My quick thoughts on that one, because, hey, we're doing quick hits.
Sure.
You see what I did there?
I like it.
Is that I honestly haven't really had a chance to read the quote. I've just heard, like, hearsay from people talking about it because I was in Minnesota and the work's been busy and whatever. I don't care. Like, Greg Jennings, this is not a distraction at all. Jennings has this kind of sense of humor, guys. I mean, it's the Jared Allen kind of out there a little bit sense of humor, you know what I mean? I think people they're reading into it way too much, and he is not a distraction like what Percy Harvin was, or like what Randy Moss was, or just don't even. Who cares?
Now you mentioned Randy Moss.
Mm-hmm.
Some new information about him. He will be joining Fox Sports as an analyst.
I cannot wait. This is probably a gigantic train wreck waiting to happen, and it's going to be so fantastic. I just want them to stick Randy Moss and Joe Buck in the announce booth together, and just whatever happens, it's going to be fantastic.
He's got to do better than McNabb, right?
Oh, yeah, it'll be great. I'm a big Randy Moss fan. his entire career, he's never liked talking to the media.
No.
Never.
And now he is the media.
I never would have thought that Randy Moss would have went to Fox Sports like that. It's just, wow. It's gonna be fun. Get your popcorn ready. Get your '84 jerseys out.
Some of you guys might be wondering about the title of this week's podcast and why I'm talking about the Wilfs. Well, if you've been following the news, the Wilf family lost a civil case for racketeering recently. And while this won't have any effect on the team itself as far as salary cap or anything like that, the state of Minnesota has said that they are open to reevaluating the Wilfs family role in the new stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be something that you should keep an eye on. We'll be definitely talking about that on the Facebook page.
Yeah, that'll be something we'll monitor here at the podcast. From what I've read from other news outlets and over Twitter and stuff, I don't think it's going to have any effect on the Vikings stadium, and of course, fingers crossed that it won't, but
Right.
We'll continue to cover it and keep you guys posted as to what happens.
The Vikings had a roster shakeup. They released Nathan Williams and signed Stanford Keglar.
Mm-hmm.
Williams was injured and was a long shot to make the roster because they wouldn't be able to see his abilities when he was injured. Keglar returns after being released when the Vikings signed Desmond Bishop.
Mm-hmm.
And also, the Pro Bowl has some changes made to it. Bunch of new rules. It's more like the NHL All-Star Game now. So we won't go into the rules in depth here, but just if you have a chance, check them out so that when you're watching the Pro Bowl, you're not like, what's going on?
I don't want to get into it that much either because we got actual football to talk about, actual preseason football. But
That's football to me.
yeah, me too. Pro Bowl, come on, come on, man, Pro Bowl. I don't even understand what they just did to it, but I'm not a fan.
I want the skills competitions back. That's what I want.
I agree. Just give me skills competition. Just vote players all pro. That way, at the end of the season, they can have the Jared Allen all pro for Minnesota, or Christian Ponder all pro for Minnesota. See what see what I did there? But yeah, bring back the skills competition. Let him throw into a tire. Let Tim Tebow throw into a tire or something.
Great, let's see it.
Yeah.
Let's have some fun with it. My last quick hit is that the Vikings will have a new inductee into the Ring of Honor. Joey Browner will be inducted and honored on October 27th at halftime against the Packers.
Yeah, congratulations to Joey Browner. I was a little annoyed that their highlight reel on tonight's game, you couldn't see a darn thing because they had so many overlays and special effects. Too. I'm like, I don't even know what I just got done watching. So go ahead and YouTube him so that you can see some actual highlights and the reason why he's going into the Vikings Ring of Honor.
All right, and that's all I have for quick hits, so let's start talking about some football.
I agree. Houston Texans, week 1 of the preseason. We don't care what the score or the outcome is because that doesn't matter. It's preseason.
Right.
But why don't we just start from the top, Adam? Is there anything that... What do you think the takeaway for fans should be from this game?
What they saw some young guys. That's what we wanted to see. We wanted to see these young guys play. And we got to see quite a few of them, including James Vanderberg and Bradley Randall. We got to see Cordero Patterson. We got to see Zach Line.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we watched this game to see, is to see how those guys would react. And we saw some really good reactions. We saw Zach Line take one to the house.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the kind of thing you usually expect from Zach Line, since they're right now trying to work on his blocking. So, I don't know. To me, that was awesome. It was awesome to see Cordero Patterson have that nice return. Mm-hmm. And the catches were nice, too. We saw him catch 4 passes for 54 yards. Didn't get into the end zone, but we saw enough of his hands and elusiveness. He had one drop that maybe should have been caught. But hey, I can't complain one bit. So far, I like what I've seen in the kid.
I think our takeaway from the first preseason game is that we have a lot of young talent on this team, and it's still way too early to put a solid evaluation on a lot of the players that are battling it out position-wise
Oh, definitely.
for the Vikings. You got your obvious ones that are going to be a lock to make the team, but you get down there into guys like
Joe Banyard and Bradley Randall.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Stephen Burton and Joe Webb as my analogy because
Oh yeah.
it's one or the other, and I don't think they both make the team. And if we're going on what we've seen in this game, Stephen Burton gets the nod, in my opinion, over Joe Webb.
I think so too. I saw some good hustle, good athleticism.
Hmm.
It seems like Stephen Burton's been working really hard this offseason because he is in phenomenal shape.
Yeah. He, to me, and I noticed this when I was up in camp as well, Stephen looked like an NFL wide receiver.
Oh yeah.
Which, well, that's one of those things where at first, I'm trying to think of the point I'm trying to get to here without spending 5 minutes getting to it. Last year, he looked like just an absolute raw talent, and this year, he's just looking like a more completed product, like what you would expect from an NFL receiver out there. And I've been impressed with his ability to make plays on the football, which we've seen him do today, and his down the field blocking, which was his strong suit last season for the Vikings, was the reason why Zach Line was able to get in for that touchdown today for the Vikings, is because Burton, he found his guy, he stuck with him through the whole play, and he stuck with that block, which allowed Line to get in for that touchdown. He made that play happen. And those are the kind of things you want to see from your receivers. Now, we've seen Joe Webb go out there today, and he threw a couple hits, whatever, but I just wasn't as impressed with him as what I was with Stephen Burton.
I agree totally with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to talk about the guy that you've been talking about, Bradley Randall.
Oh, definitely.
Now, Bradley Randall led the team in rushing, averaged 5.3 yards per rush. You heard them talking on the show about his ability to pick up blitzes,
Mm-hmm.
pick up blocks when they need to be done, his toughness on special teams, how he's been delivering wicked hits even in training camp.
Mm-hmm.
This is a kid that a lot of people say he's a long shot. They even said it on the show when we were watching the game, that Bradley Randall was a long shot to make the roster. I don't think that shot is that long.
When you're talking about a player constantly, it's not a long shot anymore. I agree with you, Adam. There was a very poignant tweet that I don't remember who sent it, but Bradley Randall is out there blocking guys that are 100 to 150 pounds heavier than him.
Oh, yeah.
And he's doing it. Now, there was a couple times that I seen him get knocked on his ass this game, but hey, that's kind of going to happen. He's learning. I was impressed with him when I was up there in camp as well, too. They were running it was like a punt, I think it was a punt return drill where they had players basically back in the end zone, and they would use the punting machine to send the ball to them, and they would have just one player, run, and they would kind of meet up, and they would, see if they could juke him out or whatever when the two players met up. And Bradley Randall was the first player to, I don't even know how to explain it, but it was like he stopped, and then he juked, and then he hit like full speed, and he was like gone. And like, I don't know who was covering him, but he just like fell over sideways, and Bradley Randall is like up the side of the field. So this guy, he's nothing but good things to say about him. He will do good things for Minnesota.
Absolutely. A guy that really disappointed me this game, even though he only had 4 carries, was Toby Gerhardt.
Yeah, me too.
I really wanted to see him show a bigger role and just be bigger, stronger, faster. I don't know, maybe I'm expecting too much, but I expected more from Toby.
I can't figure him out either, Adam. He's a player that he's coming into a contract year, and you would think that he wants to put his best foot forward so that he can get another contract with another team, because he's stated multiple times that he believes he could be a starter in the National Football League. And from what I've seen of him, from what I've heard from talking to other people who were up in camp and then factoring in this Texans preseason game, he looks smaller than what he's been in previous years, and he doesn't look as confident with the football. And it's like we're not getting much in return out of him anymore, even though I know primarily he's been used, on third downs as a pass blocker and a pass catcher. I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to question exactly what Toby Gerhardt's role is with the team, and whether or not they might be better off with a combination of Bradley Randall and Zach Line instead of Toby Gerhardt.
It's a good question, because coming forward, man, it's that running back situation. We got so many young, hungry guys, and with Toby not really showing it this game, not really flashing in camp.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got several more chances for himself to show that he has it.
Mm-hmm.
But so far, I just haven't seen it.
Ultimately, I know he's not going to get cut from the team, but if he continues to look lackluster for the remainder of preseason, if there's any way that maybe they can get some kind of return on him, some kind of trade or whatever, and I don't even know what team would be willing to do that, I wouldn't be surprised maybe if something like that was to happen for Gerhardt. We'll see. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and find out on that one. It was nice to see John Carlson catching some passes.
It was very nice. John Carlson is looking like a different player for the Vikings. This is what I think fans were expecting last year from Carlson. Not Adam.
Not me, no.
No, that's an inside joke a little bit. He looks more confident. He looks the opposite of Toby Gerhardt. To me, he looks bigger, stronger, faster for the Minnesota Vikings. He's more confident in his role with the team, and I think you're going to see a good combination of him, Rudolph, and I'm drawing a blank. Red Ellison, thank you. You're going to see a good combination from those three for the Vikings.
Another guy that I really loved seeing was Jeff Locke.
Yeah, me too.
He got some air under those punts when he needed to. When he needed distance, he boomed them. He was consistent on all his holds. Blair Walsh was consistent on all his kicks.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, we saw really good play on special teams, especially considering that Trindon Holiday is a beast.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
he
doesn't play for them anymore.
Yeah, he's not for the Texans anymore. He's for the Broncos?
Yeah, I watched him earlier.
Yeah. But
so let's scratch that out.
I knew where you were going with that, Adam. Jeff Locke, I agree with something that Paul Allen said in today's broadcast. Let's really hope that come regular season, him and Walsh are on the same page with him getting that ball down and in the right position for Walsh to continue to be kicking at the level that we expect from him based on what he's done last season. To me, Locke looks like he is as advertised. I don't think we're going to have any worries about him. And it was funny, I think it was Pete Bursage that got in a little jab about him staying off Twitter.
Oh, yeah, I heard that
during
one.
the broadcast. I thought that was pretty funny, too. And
now, you said that you had a Jeff Locke story for us.
Yeah, he's weird. Which is not surprising considering the whole stigma of punters and kickers and whatever. But seriously, him and Blair Walsh they fit the bill for just weird special teams players, and I don't even really know, Adam. You just kind of had to be there, but they were standing off during indoor practice, just off, completely separated from the rest of the players, and they had a football, and they were just kind of bouncing it on the ground with one another, and it kept going off like towards the weight room area, and it's just funny to watch. Just watch
That's
them
weird.
off in their own little world, not really doing anything, not really. Hell, even our long snapper wasn't even talking to him. It was just amusing to me to see that. It's a bit of a different dynamic from what we had when we had Ryan Longwell on the team, and Longwell was kind of one of him and Cluey, even though they were special teams, they were kind of more of the cool guys, if that makes sense. And these Walsh and Locke are definitely fit the bill for the Strangers special teams players for sure.
Well, let's talk about a guy that you love, Christian Ballard. We saw him push through a defensive line, or
You
push through
bet.
an offensive line and get a sack.
You bet. I told you guys I am not giving up on Christian Ballard, and the Vikings coaches aren't either. And he is in a good position with the players around him where he can continue to, if he can take advantage of the situation, he can get his opportunities to play like that and actually show what he's worth. And I was talking to someone over Twitter about him, a Hawkeyes fan, and we're like, finally, this is what we expect from Christian Ballard, because this is what he did for us in Iowa. And if he can bring this to the team, man, that's just all the better that Vikings line is going to look.
And the last guy I wanted to talk about was Bobby Felder,
Mm-hmm.
who we saw making some really good plays on the ball in the passing game. We saw him playing lights out on special teams. This is a guy that you can tell wants it bad.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you got anyone else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I was surprised you didn't mention him. I thought you would have for sure. Michael Madi.
Okay,
All,
go ahead.
all things considered, and this is coming off from what's he had? 3 ACL injuries, and
Yeah.
just his rough road to get to the NFL. And we were talking earlier, Adam, in the year about how maybe he even starts the season on the PUP list,
Right.
and he's not even playing. I thought he played really well for the Vikings when he was called
did.
upon. He was out there on that goal line. He sniffed the ball out, and he reminds me of a young Chad Greenway.
Very nice. That's a nice comparison.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of player that you give him a couple years to get his feet underneath him, get used to the system, and all that comes with playing for a couple years in the league, and I think Michael Madi is going to be a darn good player for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, if you can get healthy and comfortable, it's, great for him. And he's got a lot of potential that he could realize and really just become a star. Maybe not a star, but he could become a really solid piece of this Vikings defense.
Yeah, definitely. And he's a natural leader, too. You watch his college players talk about Michael Madi, and you listen to our coaches, Rick Spielman, talk about Michael Madi. And one of the first things they bring up is that he is a leader, and people gravitate towards him. And those are the kinds of guys that you want on the team. The ones who are hungry, they can sniff out the ball, they can make plays, and they're a leader of men. And that's why I'm really excited to see what he can do for the team. Maybe not necessarily this year, maybe not necessarily next year, but 3 or 4 years down the line, I think we're going to be talking about him.
A guy that I was already talking about today, even on my Facebook feed, which I forgot that I was going to talk about, was Sharif Floyd.
Oh, yeah.
Sharif Floyd batted down a pass at the line, which is kind of funny considering how he was getting knocked in the media for having short arms.
According to the Dallas Cowboys, his arms are too short. So maybe Maybe he had arm extensions put in so that he could bat that pass down. But
Maybe.
yeah, shades
Well,
of
we saw good things from Sharif, which I liked. We
shades
saw
of
him leave
Kevin
the game.
Williams
Oh, definitely.
there, Adam, when he knocked up that pass down.
We saw him leave the game early when he tweaked his knee, but he sprung right back up and nothing to worry about. He sat out the rest of the game as a precaution.
I was that worried me for a little bit when they cut to commercial and he was laying on his back. I was like, oh shit, we don't need to lose him, even though I think the depth underneath him we'd be able to figure something out. I really want to see him play because he's going to do good things for the Vikings this year, and I'm glad to see that he, like you said, got up under his own power and was able to walk off the field. And they didn't. If it was a regular game, he probably would have played in a couple snaps after that. But it's preseason; don't risk it. Just go over there and let someone else come in, and yeah.
Well, if you have anything else that you'd like to talk about, we should probably do that now before I get into my quick rants.
Percy who? That was my thought after seeing Cordarrelle Patterson a couple yards deep in the end zone on that opening kickoff decide that he's going to run it out, and I think the official was like 45 yards is what the official length of that run was. I've liked what I've seen from him. I don't have his stats in front of me for what his all-purpose yardage was, but
I had him for 50 yards on the return. He also had 54 receiving.
Okay. So, and considering he played what, it was a quarter?
About that.
Or did he play until half? I don't
think he started.
I don't even remember.
Aside from the kick return.
Anyway, he didn't play a whole heck of a lot, is what we're getting at.
Right.
And you've seen already that when he's on the field, he's the guy that your quarterbacks are going to target.
Yep, we saw him slipping some tackles. We saw him using his speed. We saw him taking smart angles. This is a guy to keep your eye on, guys.
Yeah. I want to see him be more aggressive with his route running. I think there was a couple of times that he didn't quite take the best of angles, and it looked like he could have maybe done a little bit more. But it's preseason game 1. Maybe he's a little rusty, whatever, and I'm sure the coaches are going to hammer him on fine-tuning that. But and we expected him to be a little bit raw coming out.
Definitely.
But I definitely like his future for the Vikings.
All right, I'm going to go into my quick rants here. First of all, I want to wag my finger at Roto World. I'm highly disappointed with Roto World. They took the words from a 1500 ESPN article about Josh Robinson to make it sound like he was having a very poor off-season. Now, I shared this with our Facebook page, and many mistook the opinion of Roto World to be ours.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we don't want that anymore. We want to be known for our opinions. If people want to, be angry at us, it should be because of our opinions and what we believe, not because of what Roto World thinks. So I just wanted to say I'm sorry for that, and I think that we'll be much more careful what we post in the future because we don't want misunderstandings like that again.
Mm-hmm. Although that was actually kind of amusing because I think we had one of his relatives that called us out on Facebook, right, Adam?
We had his wife on there.
Was that his wife?
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting, folks. For me and Adam just being, hey, we're just two Vikings fans who started doing this podcast, a year ago and some junk change. And,
sure.
It's interesting that it's at the point where the wife of one of the players on the team found our stuff and called us out. But you did a fantastic job of getting that all cleared up. And
damage control.
Damage control. Carlson is going to be your new nickname. But
I like it.
Yeah, like you said, if people are going to bitch at us, it should be bitching at us for our own stupid opinions on stuff.
Absolutely.
Which we always, anytime we say something stupid, we'll own up to it. Like,
right.
I don't care.
Like me and my whole, that guy doesn't even play for the Texans anymore. Big deal.
Yeah.
All right, my last rant, and this one has been a couple days in the making because this is getting blown way out of proportion. Now, we've all seen the posts of the people that have taken the pictures of the ESPN screen and have been putting up their rants of complaining about the celebration penalties. Guess what? It's not true. Open up the rule book. It's available online. Do a search for it. Read it. They will only be penalized for these celebrations if they're directed at a member of the opposing team. Nothing has changed except the media hype about this rule. Calm down, folks.
Mhm.
Calm down.
Thank you, Adam. You're right. You cannot direct. I think they said those were in the rule books in 2011 or 2012 is when this rule was first put in. Now, there's more of an emphasis on it this season, which is why it's been brought up by the media. But this is, like you said, if it's directed towards another player, you can still do...
Or I believe an official now, too.
Yeah, which makes sense, and I get... We all hate Roger Goodell. I hate him. I hate him. You hate him. We all hate him. He's a dipshit. No
He's
one...
a nice guy. He should send me free stuff.
No, he's not a nice guy. He's a moron, Adam. No one likes Roger Goodell. And we all... They add too many stupid rules every year that no one likes, and we're all, as football fans, frustrated with it. Because at the end of the day, my belief is that football is entertainment.
Right.
And I get that they want to make their product family friendly. And they want to make it to where kids can, they look up to players that play for the National Football League.
Sure.
And I think, that's why you have a guy like Adrian Peterson, who is just by default, he's a good guy that kids can look up to. What I think the NFL is trying so hard to do is to make sure that every player in the NFL is Adrian Peterson.
I think what they're doing right now is damage control. I think that the NFL's reputation has taken a hit because of the whole Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah, that too.
And they want to be seen as a more positive organization, and I can understand that.
I understand that too. I guess my long-winded point is that not every player does the kinds of things that Adrian Peterson does. Occasionally, man, you got a guy like Randy Moss who's out there who's going to fake moon the crowd and have the big afro and stick his tongue out. And you know what? That's okay. Because it's football, it's entertainment. And not every player on every roster has to be a role model to every kid watching the game. They don't have to set the standard for society. Part of what makes football interesting is the fact that you got all kinds of different characters that are out there. And it's been this way for a long, long time. And I don't like the fact that they're going to make such a big deal about Jared Allen doing his sack dance if he gets one knee accidentally touches the ground. Fucking, excuse my language, penalty because his one knee went on the ground. So he can't quite do the rope dance the way he's previously done in years. It's like, back off a little bit. Like, it's entertainment.
Well, my final opinion on that is if the point of this is to try to make the NFL seem like a more reputable organization, why not do like we've done on the podcast here? We accentuate when teams and players have these charitable organizations and do things for the community. Talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
These are the kind of things that don't get talked about, and the team still does, even though they don't have to. They do it because they want to.
Yeah.
They're not going to make Sports Center for, like John Sullivan with that playground at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Did that make Sports Center? No. But was it awesome? Was it something he didn't have to do? Was it something that kids should look at and say, wow, that was really generous, I'm proud of him, all that kind of stuff? That is what should be done. Not penalizing everyone, but because that's the way that things have gotten, and it's sadly true.
And the last time I checked, the NFL owns their own network. It's called the NFL Network. They can't control the stories that ESPN is going to run. ESPN can run what they want to run, and if they want to beat Aaron Hernandez in the ground, they're going to do it. NFL can't stop it.
Oh, yeah.
But what the NFL can do is when you flip over to their own network and they've got live footage of Aaron Hernandez handcuffed in like the preliminary court hearing, whatever, and then they're cutting to their D-level talents sitting in their studio, the Dave Damasheks of the world, are giving us their opinion on this on a 24/7 news cycle. It's like, hey, wait a minute, you guys are just as much the problem here as what ESPN is too.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I was going to go off on one final rant about the clear big, freezer big in the stadium
Maybe
thing,
we can save that for next week.
I'm sure that you guys have heard enough about that recently, too.
You want to know?
But that's all I have for this week. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I might as well just throw it out there. You want to know what I think the reason why they have this clear bag policy in place? A little bit of it, I'm sure, has to do with the Boston bombings and security of blah, 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 blah. Ultimately, it comes down to they don't want you to sneak in a 12-pack and some potato chips into the arena.
Because, yeah, so if you're going to bring snacks, you got to bring smaller snacks that'll fit into your pocket.
Precisely. And buy the little 50-cent bags, the potato chips that you can sneak in, and the little mini bottles of booze that you can get on the airliners, and stick them into your socks.
There you go.
Hey, we're going to be playing outdoors at TCF next year, so we're all going to
need some whiskey to warm yourself up.
We're all going to have great big baggy coats on, so we can stick all kinds of stuff in that.
Yeah, good luck for them getting that under control. They'll be taking apart people's jackets. Oh, it'll be a mess.
Oh.
But on behalf of the Purple People podcast, I want to thank everyone for listening and staying with us through our little jibber jabber here. Hopefully it was somewhat entertaining.
I love preseason. I legitimately like preseason football.
Oh, yes.
But I can't wait for regular season football to get here so that we can talk about topics that are a little bit more important than James Vandenberg.
Now we're one step closer to that.
Yes, we are.
But remember, check us out, Facebook, Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
and thank you for listening, and stay classy, Minnesota.
We bleed purple, and our bones are gold. Hear the horns coming out of our dome, behold. We are Minnesota Vikings fans. We love when a player scores, we roar, ignite the stands. We bleed purple, and our bones are gold. We're the kings of the north, our slogan skull. No Packer, no bear, no lion can beat us. We will punish anyone if they try to defeat us. He's the MVP, appreciated greatly. Running all day, 2K, that's AP. Make a defense cry, or maybe beg. ACL stands for Adrian's crazy leg. He's the heart of the team, 28, holding up that Lombardi is a part of the dream. We will never give up, we find the faith to move past.